The question today is, can stripping be psychologically damaging, especially to someone that's young? The girl that asked me this question asked because her family found out and is worried that stripping could do psychological damage to her. Now, I know what my immediate answer was, and I ended up asking two of the closest girls to me what their opinion was because they also started dancing when they were 18, and I'll let you know what they said in just a minute. First of all, let me preface that the girl asking said she actually likes her job, which I think is great because in my opinion, this job, if you do it right, can take you very far in life. It's a very unique opportunity. So back to the question, let's take a look at the meaning of psychological trauma more in depth. Wikipedia defines it as, psychological trauma is a type of damage to the mind that occurs as a result of a severely distressing event. Trauma is often the result of an overwhelming amount of stress that exceeds one's ability to cope or integrate the emotions involved with that experience. The definition in the words of dictionary.com also are very similar. The answer to this question, in my opinion, is very simple. If it doesn't stress you out and you don't feel bad about what you're doing, then no, it's not going to be psychologically damaging to you. Now, you said your family is Catholic, so maybe you do feel like you're doing something wrong. I was a Christian, and I didn't feel like I was doing anything morally wrong. And I knew a lot of girls that I worked with that were also religious that also didn't feel like they were doing anything wrong. But we're talking about you. Do you feel like what you're doing is wrong? Do you feel like you're doing something that's wrong? Your parents don't want you to do it, but they also probably don't even want you to move out of the house if you haven't done that yet. They might tell you it's bad, but what does that really mean? Who are you hurting? So I told you I asked the two closest girls in the world to me what they thought, and here were their answers. I asked your exact question. Do you think stripping at a young age can psychologically be damaging? She said, I feel fine. If anything, it gave me more confidence than I would have otherwise. I'm sure it depends on your experience with it. I rarely did anything I didn't want to. And I said, I agree. I think it depends on what you do and don't do because you do have options. It's not like you have to do anything you don't want to do. If you walk up to a guy that even says something dirty to you that you don't like, all you have to do is turn around and walk away. You are not obligated to do anything you don't want to do. Stripping is a very open-ended job. There are clubs where you can do stuff that might make you feel bad or guilty. But as strictly an entertainer, you're just an actress. It's just acting these fantasies out for these guys and not in a dirty way. And then I asked the same question to my best friend. Do you think stripping at a young age can be psychologically damaging? And she said, no, it's taught me so much. Then she said, where is that coming from? You and I both know the benefits. Sounds like an outside opinion of someone who's never danced before, possibly a guy. And I said, you're right, it's not just a guy though, it's someone's parents. And then she said, parents are made to be protective. When I've been thinking about this, I've been trying to figure out something that you could tell your parents, but I haven't figured that out. I'm not a parent and there's literally no way they could ever understand your job, which is also what my best friend ended up saying. Because I said, I've been trying to get inside of a parent's head to think about it. And she said, it's a waste of time to get into someone's head who has no idea. It's not like you're going to convince them any differently anyway. I don't know for sure that that's true. I don't know your relationship with your parents. Maybe you can explain it to them in a way that they'll understand. When I explained it to my parents, it was basically like, it is nothing in the world like you could possibly imagine it is. Because I know the stereotypes, I know what you see in the movies and stuff like that. So I just tried to explain it was nothing like that at all. And they believed me. They trusted me. Your parents absolutely probably trust you, but they're parents and they're designed to be worried about you. I mentioned to you in my comment that I was going to tell you a couple things in relation to your situation with your parents and your boyfriend. When I was 18, I wanted to move to South Carolina and my parents begged me not to go because they were afraid for me. They thought that I should stay in their city, but I went anyway. When I was almost 19, I told them I was moving to Florida and they begged me not to go because again, they were afraid. My mom said Florida had gay people, which she's not prejudiced, but she was worried I would get HIV, and I went anyway. When I turned 20, I told them I was moving to California, and my parents begged me not to go because they were worried about earthquakes, and I went anyway. By the time I told them I was leaving the country, they just understood and knew that I was going to do it, and that I was going to be fine. Every single time I have gone anywhere, even on vacation, to Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Costa Rica, places even in the country, New York, Miami, literally anywhere, someone has told me not to go because it's dangerous to go by myself. Most people seem to think they know what is best for other people. I can remember having multiple clients telling me how much they hated their lives and their jobs, while I'm just sitting on their lap getting paid, and they would tell me that I should go to school and follow a similar path to them, after they just told me how much they hated their lives. If I had listened to anything that most people have told me I should do, my life so far would have been extremely uneventful and very boring. So I'm going to ask you a question. What is the most important thing to you? Because if you want to be looked at your parents as the perfect child and that's the most important thing to you, then maybe you should quit. But if you want to be your own person, if you want to trust yourself to make decisions, and if you want to keep the opportunity to keep making probably more money than just about anybody you know at the moment, if you want to be free to travel and live life like probably seriously 95% of the people in this country can't do, and do it on your own terms, I would say keep going and really master it, because you're just getting started and there's so much you can learn. There's so much more you can learn. As a young adult, you have got the world at your fingertips right now. You can learn about investing your money. There are apps that can make traveling super easy and super inexpensive, and you'll have the extra time because you don't have to work your ass off 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You've got the time to dream and really focus on what it is you want to do. I don't know if you realize right now, we live in an incredible time in history where we can make just about anything happen. And right now, you have got the time to figure out what it is that you want to do. And your people skills, because of stripping, will help you be able to open doors that otherwise you maybe wouldn't be able to open. And about your boyfriend, I honestly feel like being independent is one of the most important things in the world, especially for a female. Right now, you're learning incredible life skills, whether you realize it or not. Most importantly, you're learning how to be good with people, which in my opinion is probably the most important life skill to have. He's probably intimidated, and this is probably not going to be the nicest thing to say, and maybe you would disagree with me, but in my opinion, people come and go. I know he's been a boyfriend of yours for a long time, but if you quit now just because he wants you to, a year from now y'all could break up and you would be a year behind on the money you could have been making, and you would have had to have a regular job in the meantime, which means that would have sucked up a lot of your time that you could have had, and you would also be behind on all of the skills that you could be acquiring as a stripper, such as emotional intelligence, self-discipline, sales, persuasiveness, learning how to be your own boss, etc. If I were you, I would take some of the skills that I've learned while dancing and I would put on a show for him. I mean, I would go all out. Candles, sexy outfit, perfect music. I'd give him a whole show. And once it's all said and done, tell him how much you care about him. And tell him that what you're doing while you're at work is just a job. And you don't want those guys. You want him. Let him know that it's important to you and that you really like the money that you're making. And ask him to accept it. And if he really loves you, I believe he will. There are always going to be people that try to tell you what's the best for you. But what does your gut tell you? A good rule of thumb for me when it comes to taking advice from anyone is, do I want to be in their position? If they aren't where I want to be, if they haven't had the same experience as I want, and if they're not making the same kind of money I want, I typically don't take advice from them. I usually always just follow my gut. So those are my thoughts on it. Those are my friends' thoughts on it that have also been in the exact same position as you, age-wise. I hope that this was really helpful. If you have any follow-up questions to anything that I said, please ask away. I'm here to help. If anyone else listening has any questions and I feel like I'm knowledgeable on it, I would love to share some stripper insights with you. Take care.